There's a lot of people that say that it couldn't have all come about by chance. It must have been God. And when they say that, they're using by chance to mean without meaning and intention and purpose. But they're connecting it to the random element that is present in our scientific models of evolution, random mutations there. There's also randomness in various physical processes like the rolling of dice, or even the motions of electrons and atoms are governed by quantum mechanics. It's an inherently unpredictable process. These are two very different things. There's lack of meaning and purpose, and then there's scientific unpredictability. Two very different meanings of the word chance. And the problem comes when you conflate the two and say, well, if there's a scientific unpredictability to the system, then therefore God must not be involved somehow. Well, that's actually not biblical, because in Proverbs 16:33 it says, "The lot is cast into the lap, but its every decision is from the Lord." Casting lots was the ancient Hebrew equivalent of rolling dice. And God was in governing those events. So to say that God isn't involved if it's a random process is not a valid argument. So it could be that God even has purposeful randomness. A colleague of us wanted to design an image of leaves falling from a tree, and wanted the leaves to fall off randomly so it would look natural. And so on purpose, she designed a random element into the computer program. It was her intention to have it have a random element to it. Similarly, there's artists who design art using a random element. They've written a computer algorithm that will vary different variables, but then produce different art based on what those variables are. And the art can be very beautiful, and the art is meeting all of the intentions of the artist, but the artist doesn't know exactly how it's going to turn out. So those are some models of how God might be acting. He could be leaving it open-ended, saying, I want it to be random, I want to see all of the different possibilities it can explore. Or perhaps God knows ahead of time, here's all of the possibilities that are going to happen, but I will allow them to all occur. Or God could say occasionally, this particular one I want to turn out this way. For instance, with the algorithm of leaves falling from a tree, this computer programmer said, well, she could set up the program so that this particular leaf would fall at this particular time on the head of the little person standing next to it in the diagram. So God could interact with it that way as well. How exactly God does that, I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of interesting possibilities. I like the idea of God allowing creation to explore a range of possibilities rather than micromanaging each particular event. But I also see God as intimately involved in his creation and not distant or separate from it in any way. So I don't want to cast it as God is just delegating all of this to natural laws and he's less involved. So God intimately involved with his universe, but allowing it to have this organic variety of possibilities.